A single hand cannot nurse a child. The words of a Swahili proverb, which bring us into this fourth episode of the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
I'm Garth Williams, and we are
Jamaican Dadz.
Welcome to the podcast. This program is all about providing Jamaican men with a healthy, safe, functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics which matter to us and our masculinity.
Now, as we always say, we are dads of differing amounts of experience from different backgrounds. We view the world differently, but we are all brethren and we are all committed to Jamaica. We're all committed to our children.
True, and this podcast is a space for us to explore the issues important to us, especially as fathers. Additionally, most of the content out there about parenthood is written by women and for women. Nothing's wrong with that, but we also need our space to share our dad-centric views.
Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today. Coming up later in Dad Try This, yet another cool life hack for fathers. And of course, we have Fresh to Death. We'll share the basics about colognes and perfumes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Our discussion in the meat of the matter this week, though, is From Conception to Childbirth Part 2 with Dr. Michael Abrahams. But before we get there, let's fire off with the opening salvo.
In this week's opening salvo, we discuss lessons from a recent Gleaner article about a father who gave his son a pedicure. Yes, you heard me right. A father gave his son a pedicure. So let me share with you.
Is that really a pedicure or did they just exaggerate?
All right, so let's get into it. The title says, Fun-loving dad gives son pedicure, relishes fatherhood. Full-time crime fighter and father Rafaelito Lafayette is always thrilled to speak of his 3 children, whether it's about clipping toenails and washing feet during his pedicures or other activities in which they participate to spend quality time. And he said, this is a quote, "From you have kids, you must can talk about it. From you take part in them life." The proud father of three, has a 16-year-old Jamar, 9-year-old Gabriel, and a 6-year-old Justin, and is being dubbed Father of the Year by many social media users after a video began making the rounds of Lafayette treating his youngest son, Justin, to a pedicure. He's not used to such accolades, and he always draws the admiration of persons seeing his interaction with the kids. But when you read through the rest of the article, you realize that all he's really doing is getting his sons into the habit of proper grooming. So it's not...
Don't say all he is really doing.
No, understand, not
what he is
What he's
doing.
doing, not all, but what he's doing is really teaching his kids about proper grooming. And he has 3 sons, by the way. So it's important that he's teaching the young men about grooming. But the interesting thing is, when you hear about pedicure, immediately you start thinking of all the fancy things.
Hand shell, foot shell.
Yes, you know all that kind of stuff. And the cuticle, them supposed to clean out, and the works, and the pretty looking nails. We kind of have that idea or that view that it's the pretty feet thing that women do to adorn themselves, and not thinking that it is really literally just the basic care of grooming your nails, particularly your feet. So, gentlemen, your thoughts on
Pedicures?
this? Well, pedicures, and as a father, would you give your sons?
My 1-year-old son...
No, obviously not at this phase.
No.
But you clip his nails, don't you?
No, that's his mother's job. No,
Did we not just tell you exactly how to do it?
And I'm saying...
The hand dropping, Dennis, when the father
remember?
I'm still not doing it.
Drop hand.
Still not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely afraid of doing it.
Yeah.
So I just leave
You
it
don't
to
want to
her.
cut him.
Exactly. But like I actually help her. Like I hold him foot and make sure say, or I hold the phone to the light and make. So yeah.
So you're the brawn and she's the brain.
Yeah. So, but I'm not doing it. But like big old grayback 12-year-old child.
Well, his youngest is 6.
Yeah, but it sounds like him do it for all of them.
Yeah. So you would give Nicholas a pedicure?
Well, his mom is a certified cosmetologist, so that's her thing. But would I do it?
Yeah.
No. Well, I've done it before. I mean, I've clipped his nails, have fingernails and toenails,
and rub him foot bottom with something.
No.
Soak it in the water. Soak it in the water and them something there.
No, I don't. All right, sorry, Floyd. Wayne.
No, well, all right. I guess personally, that wouldn't cross my mind, dog. Honestly, I can't
Yeah,
see
it
myself-
wouldn't
I
pass.
can't see myself giving Nathaniel a pedicure at all.
You clip his nails though.
Yeah, well, you see, and I guess
So it's
that's
just
the
terminology
difference.
then.
You know, there is, in my mind, a pedicure is much more intense and detailed
Yeah.
than simply clipping your nails.
Right.
I think pedicure, I think about the bath for soak off the foot. I think about rub the back. I think about the you get the liquor, what you call it now, that
The
they
oil
put
them
on
and
the
the clear-
nails,
oh,
and
they-
right.
the
Clear
clear
coat,
coat and things like that.
Oh, he doesn't
And
wear.
it's
It's
not
not.
oil.
Yeah, and
It's not
things like
clear
that.
coat.
No, I think, and let me not. I definitely believe it is a great thing for a father to be highlighting to his son of whatever age the importance of
grooming.
self-care,
Yeah,
and
man.
grooming. I think definitely as a society, men have not taken that on and taken that seriously, right? But I don't know if I would extend it to actually doing it for him or actually saying, you know, that it have to be pedicure. You understand? Yeah, I don't know.
In the fullest
I don't
sense
know.
of a pedicure.
Yeah. I mean-
right, pedicure.
I guess.
Definitely cutting nails, definitely, you know, ensure you're always groomed, definitely. It's not okay to just because you're a man, your foot them can look anyway. You know, definitely those
But I
discussions.
guess that
but-
discussion comes up as the child grows because, like, you gone on your bed with your dirty foot. Wake up. Go wash your foot.
Go wash your foot.
You know?
Yeah.
I used to get that way. Like, go
No,
wash
no,
your
no.
foot.
I'm sorry.
you're-
sorry.
you're-
Me never that fool because go to bed with my foot. You want Sharon kill me? Yo, man. Don't you have Sharon sheet them so?
Yeah,
no,
don't it?
man.
What you think, man?
I think the terminology used was a little misleading still. But definitely you must teach your son about grooming. I'm not huge on the petty money type of vibe still. I'll do it and think. Whereas you have all a beach party, I come up here, want to do it. And by the way, strangely, one of my Father's Day gifts was a certificate figure.
Okay.
Did it. Big up the Lux box, Maxine. Big up yourself. I think, and all. So yeah, I will clip them myself and all. But I think Judah probably growing older might be. I'll show him about clipping him nails and so forth. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe one idea when I go do it, may him go along with me and we do it and such.
So my kids have seen my wife like give me a pedicure before, you know, and obviously they want to participate in the whole thing because it's all fun and games for them. Because apparently daddy foot is really just a prop, you know.
So I say-
there are times when I don't take care of my feet and my foot really look like a prop, you know, something from like Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But from that perspective, there's that thing, and like I said, I've clipped Nick's nails before and file them, you know, just to make sure
Everything
them don't
right.
look like talons at the end of the day, right? And rip up him socks and him shoes and them kind of thing there. I don't think I've ever had to clip Noel's nails since she left the toddler phase. Her mom has always sought to that, and then Noel is very much into her image and just, you know, how she looks. So she does those things for herself, and she's like learning to do nails now. So she will call me and she say, "Daddy, I want to try this," and I'm like, "No, here's what Daddy's going to do." We got her a model hand, right? That she can put the nails on and she can paint them herself. Right? So I don't have to end up being that prop. But
I can imagine how you might go with some French tips.
Imagine.
Can't come on the show with French tips.
my daughter did this.
You're gone too far.
Don't
now.
it? But the article continues. He recommends interaction with positive people and surrounding oneself with mentors to foster even better father-child relations. And I think that's one of the big things.
Yeah, the principle is good. I think even listen, a lot of men have, especially like feet care issues. Yeah. Right, that's something that we don't talk about, but it's true. And you hear like it's almost, and you never really hear.
Well, it's
people
almost a
talk-
matter of
You
pride.
never
Say your
hear
foot
people,
don't look.
nobody ever hear people talk about like women with feet that smell, right? But you always hear people that are referring some man who have, you know,
Or them say, your foot look nice for a man.
yeah, or things like that.
Because
Oh,
the
you sound like you're
expectation
gotten
levels
that.
is, no, I don't.
So
Like-
I
I have a
actually
regimen,
think that I
no.
like. I
No,
think
I'm saying your foot
absolutely
look
not.
nice for a
First
man.
to
Like
that,
Oh,
your
yeah.
foot-
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
been told
Oh, yeah,
that.
I've heard that.
we should do a fresh to that
Yeah.
on feet care.
Of course, we
I think
will.
coming out of this, I think we should have freshness and feed care. Whether that lead to pedicures or different, but just some other basic things.
Yeah, man.
Like just washing your feet properly.
And I have people we can bring in for come talk.
Cleaning
In fact,
between your toes and them
Right.
things.
Yeah, and these are things we'll have to actually
athlete's foot.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Because
accepting
seriously.
that you have
Now,
and dealing with it.
I had to deal with because, when I was sport.
When you were an athlete.
When I was an athlete and all, and you the simple things then because you don't play,
far away.
you don't play ball or you don't run in that and you just throw down the shoes. You wear the same socks couple times. These little things. So we definitely have to touch on that.
My experience with feet was that I've always been told, you have lady hand, you have lady foot, right? And then in high school, I used to get teased about it.
So you just let them go?
I just purposely went out of my way for walk barefooted,
crusty.
and now I've done irreparable damage to my feet.
But that's it, almost like a point of pride for man to them foot.
Yeah,
now.
them foot don't look.
You understand?
It was,
Man foot feel look like man.
Let me tell you, like
Man and feel like man.
Yeah, but I'm not joining that one there.
No.
Yeah, no.
I think mine is the opposite because
Yeah,
I don't have soft hands. Like,
Yeah.
I've always felt the need to have to kind of fix them up, 'cause,
Right.
you know.
So I guess
No, let me tell you, I learned
Yeah.
very late in life that well, not so much late, because it was like university, that I really should not have done such damage to my hands and feet, right? Ladies, I've found, and I read a lot too, have found that they like when your hands are soft to the touch. Right? The crusty thing not always work. Them like when your hand them feel like, you know what I mean? It can touch them without scrape off them skin.
I've seen the opposite. Not say it's scrape off skin, but women comment on man saying hands so soft. Yeah, them like
Somebody
feel.
to exfoliate them.
No, it's not like say I go scrub up, but they want to feel like say your hand, like you've worked with your hands.
Right.
You know, like your hand.
No, but
Like in the
go back-
yard work.
Yeah, man.
Go back to what you're saying in
Is
terms
a
of the
guy that
society
developed
thing.
now.
Exactly.
The thing is them, we have images of what a man is supposed to be and what a man is supposed to feel and a man is supposed to kind of crustish, right? And the hand them supposed to, but soft hands all the way. You don't know.
Team soft
Yeah,
hands.
for you.
Sorry.
Team decent feeling hands. Mine are soft. But they wheel some machete when I grew up and all them things. I did.
Team
Mr.
no
Country boy.
Team no comment.
Yeah, this is a country boy. Some man feel like me's a countryman. you
Yeah,
know?
so to Mr. Lafayette, let me get back his first name, Rafaelito Lafayette.
Big up yourself.
Yes, we
up
salute you here from the Jamaican Dadz
man.
podcast.
Big up yourself.
Keep on doing what you're doing. By the way, he ended up doing that one because he said he bought a foot bath for personal use. And then out of that, obviously the interest from the guys,
Yeah,
the
listen,
sons and whatnot,
yeah,
and then... it
Big up
was-
yourself.
Big up yourself,
yourself.
Ross.
Yeah, that.
You're real.
Yeah,
man.
Dadz.
You're real.
Certified.
All right, good stuff. So that has brought us, Dennis, I think, to
Yeah.
the end of the opening salvo for the week. Please keep the conversation going. Let us know what you think.
Give us your ideas for an opening salvo.
That's right. We
Shoot
can
Email.
It can go from sublime to absolutely ridiculous, right? We'll take it anyway. You can send us an email, JamaicanDadsPodcast@gmail.com. You can keep the conversation going on Twitter with the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. And then you can find us on YouTube. Please subscribe to youtube.com/Jamaican Dadz. And that's Dads with a Z.
All right, let's take a break and return with the meat of the matter. Coming up in the meat of the matter, from conception to childbirth, part 2. Thanks for staying with us here on the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Dennis Brooks. Well, in the meat of the matter this week, we are returning to that conversation about conception to childbirth and giving you all the lessons that we think that you need to glean, especially if you're going through the process. And we've been talking to a few of the gentlemen who say they are dads to be, first-time dads to be, and they have lots of questions. So it's great that we can engage you. And to help us, we have Dr. Michael Abrams. Welcome to the program, Doc.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. Of course, Dr. Abrams, if you don't know already, is an obstetrician and gynecologist, all right?
Probably the most famous one.
You can join the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag Jamaican Dadz, and as always, you'll find us all littered all over social media at Jamaican Dadz. So just check us out. Send your questions to the Jamaican Dadz podcast at gmail.com. All right, Doc, Thanks again for being here with us. One of the first things we have to get into is this thing of a birthing plan, right? Because it's what's supposed to guide you from conception to childbirth. So take us through that. What is a birthing plan and why on earth is it important?
And why Floyd never know about it.
As the name says, it's a birthing plan. It's a plan for childbirth. And most of it really entails what takes place during labor. For example, obviously you want to know where you're going to be delivering, what kind of environment you want. Some birthing plans are simple, for example, 1 page. One lady gave me about a 4-page long thing. I tried to go back home with it and bring it back. Had all kind of stuff, a lot of stuff. So for example, some women want no analgesic or painkillers. Some want painkillers. Some would want what you call an epidural, which is something that totally kills the pain, so you don't feel the contractions. So some women want a natural childbirth. Some would specify who they want in the room with them. And I think it's very important for women to be empowered to make that decision. Definitely. When I was training, one of the things I disagreed with was that when I was training at University Hospital, I don't know if it has changed. The rule was only the patient's mother or the father of the child was allowed to be with her. I totally disagree with that because I should not be dictating who is in there because sometimes the man is a waste man or she and the mother fall out. And then, so who's going to be there? You know, I think it's up to the last patient I delivered had her best friend, her closest friend with her because her partner was abroad, so he was on the phone and it was like, you know, FaceTime stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, but her best friend was with her the whole time.
Right.
I think it's important for patients to determine who is going to be there. Some would want to, for example, decide who does the vaginal examinations because it varies from place to place. During labor, if labor is uncomplicated, there's an interval of about 4 hours between the vaginal examinations to see how far the cervix has dilated or how far the head has come down.
Right.
Some people would, for example, say only the doctor who is assigned to her should do it because some hospitals, you have different people doing it, like the midwife, etc. Some would want to determine where they want to deliver, if it's in a regular bed or a delivery bed. And one thing I've learned, I went to tell you the honest truth, being a male gynecologist and obstetrician, most of the books I read were written by men. And these men were learned men, but these men did not have uteri or vaginas. And they didn't have the hormonal stuff that women have. So the physical part, like the mechanics of labor and pregnancy, they fully understand. But the mental and social stuff, they may not be that with it. And I've learned over the years to listen to women, you know. So for example, one of the things some women would want to decide is which position they want to deliver in.
Oh, you've got options for those?
No, definitely. So I want to tell you something.
Squat.
So when I was in med school, and when you watch TV, women lie down in this bed and they put their feet in these stirrups and they lie down like this and they push.
Right.
All right. Think about it. If you want to expel something from your body, let's say you're in the forest and you need to go to the bathroom or defecate, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You're not going to go back and lie down like this. You're going to squat, right? Yeah. It's natural to squat. But you see, over the years, with the development of in the field of obstetrics, we developed this thing where women lie in that position because it's much easier for us to see what's happening. And it's important for us to see what's happening.
Right.
Because some people can get awful tears or lacerations, and we can control it better. But it's more natural, for example, to squat or to bend over or go on all fours. So some women will decide, okay, I want to deliver in this position. Some may want aromatherapy or massages when they're in labor. They want soothing music. They want room to be dim. Some women want to have a water birth. Some women want to live at home. So this what the birth plan really is. On the other hand, many women don't have any birth plan. They just go and live and deliver.
Right.
Between me and you, my wife didn't have any birth plan. The plan was just to get baby out.
Get the baby out. Put it there, get it out.
How you choose a hospital, Doc? How you decide what is the right hospital for you?
That's a good question. And it depends on what you're comfortable with. It depends on what you're able to afford.
Yeah, finance
So
has.
for example, if you want to go to a public hospital, for example, the nearest ones there are Jubilee and Spanish Town. A public hospital will take anybody. They cannot turn you away. You do not have to book at the hospital. You can be a total stranger on the road. You go your water break. You go in there, and they have to take you. The thing about a public hospital is that it's free. There are very good doctors there, but because it's free, sometimes it's overcrowded. Sometimes the conditions are not optimum. If you deliver at somewhere like University Hospital, it's not really it's not really a private, but it's not fully free either. It's kind of in between.
Semi-public or something like that.
So, for example, if you go to university and you go to the clinic, you get seen by the clinics, by the doctors assigned to the clinic. So each time you go, you may not be seen by the same person. So the continuity of care, again, is not going to be there.
Right.
And even if you're seen privately at university, you may have your private obstetrician looking after you, but once you go in labor, you become the responsibility of the labor ward staff. So if you're seen privately, you get the continuity of care.
Okay.
If you're not, you see different people. If you go fully private now and they live at a private hospital, in Kingston we have
Andrews
and Natal are the only two in Kingston now. Medical Associates. I was born there. After I was born, they said, no, hell no way, and they stopped that.
So it's your fault.
So you were the last one.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, I said, hell no. And St. Joseph's used to, and they stopped. So the private hospital now, you're often seen by a private doctor, so you have that kind of continuity of care. You go to the same person. Then when you go in labor, it's usually that doctor, or if that doctor is off the island or unavailable, another colleague will cover. But that's the best kind of continuity of care you will get. But the other thing is that it's expensive. It's more expensive because if you end up with a cesarean section, for example, it's going to cost you a lot more money.
Yeah.
Thank God
Right.
for
Now,
insurance.
That's
Yes.
so true.
Yes.
That is so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Now,
that was good.
Doc, the birthing plan is mainly around delivery. But let's
Yes.
talk about that journey, though.
Can I tell you sort of weird birthing plan as well?
Yeah.
Because what one patient wanted, and women are very different. So for example, some women would want a cesarean section because they said they don't want to go in labor. Some want to go in labor because they don't want a section. I remember this patient once who told me she did not want to see the placenta under no circumstances. That she wanted to see the placenta. This other lady said she wanted it.
You blindfolded her, right?
No, she reminded me after the baby came. Mike, I don't want to see that. So this other lady said she wanted it to take home and do some stuff and freeze it and make stuff and eat it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
heard.
seen those online. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little
So I
odd.
made a mental note because I know her very well not to go to her house for dinner.
Yeah, she can't carry. Come on, come to my office, you know.
No, I'm not accepting stuff like that. No.
All right, Doc. Now, outside of the birthing plan, do people plan the journey? I mean, obviously there will be visits to the obstetrician, scheduled visits and whatnot. Are there other types of plans that people might follow along the way so that mommy and daddy can really kind of just navigate the way forward together?
Mainly so that daddy doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Different people do different things. So, for example, some people have routines where, for example, the father is always at the visit. And they're always together. Sometimes they bring other family members. I remember this couple in particular. This woman's man was awesome, because whenever they came, he'd move one of the other chairs to sit down right beside her, and everything was a team thing. So different people will have different. I don't know about any like antenatal plans per se in terms of the visits. They'll just make the appointments, keep with the schedule, and they will turn up. Some with their partner, some without.
Is there something that you recommend?
I recommend that people just are compliant with their visits, and that the partner comes as much as they can, because it's so important for men to be involved. It's very, very, very important, extremely important, and it's something I encourage a lot. And I'm pretty unorthodox, but I realize that even though I'm in gynecology, one of my main areas of interest is childhood trauma. And abuse, neglect, dysfunction, and fatherlessness in this country creates a lot of problems. So, for example, when men come to the office, I often will have a photo shoot. So the baby would be on the ultrasound, And I'll tell the father to come and pose beside the mother and ultrasound and take the phone and take cameras, pictures of them with the baby. Sometimes I let him hold a probe like he's doing ultrasound to get him involved so that, listen, when your child is born, your child will know that, hey, daddy was there from day one.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, definitely had to be there from day one.
That's.
Yeah.
But there's
What was I thinking? Day 2 and 3 and other days.
I have those too.
You are listening to the. Sorry, this is the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Conception to childbirth. The discussion going on with Dr. Michael Abrams. We're going to come right back with more after these messages.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Jamaican Dadz podcast. If you're just joining us, we have been looking at this very important topic of from conception to childbirth. We have been having Dr. Michael Abrams as our guest. Thank you very much, Doc. We've been learning. Trust me, not because we're parents. We've been learning, and we hope you have been too.
Yeah, and we're inviting you, of course, to keep the conversation going on Twitter with the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. Share with us some of what you know. Share with us some of what you've learned from the doc in this program. All right, Doc, as we move forward now, we spoke last week about the first trimester and what that does to a woman's body.
Okay.
So we want to move now, second, third trimester. What happens to mommy's body physically, emotionally, mentally, and how can we, as men, make it more comfortable of a ride for them?
How much time do we have?
Give it a cliff notes.
Give it a cliff notes.
That's a hell of a cliff. So, you know about this morning sickness thing where women have nausea and whatever. It usually subsides after the first trimester, which is the first 12 weeks. So pregnancy is 40 weeks average.
Right.
First trimester is up to 12. Second is up to 28. And from 28 to 40 is third. So some women have persistent nausea though. It may persist beyond the 12 weeks into the second trimester. It may be intermittent. We call it morning sickness, but it can occur at any point. They may have strange appetite changes.
Oh, Lord. KFC at 1 o'clock in the morning.
So they may like something one day and the next day is totally different. I remember when my wife was pregnant with my son and she wanted pizza. And I got it one day, and the next day I thought I was being an awesome husband. And I said, hey, I got pizza. And she said, oh my God, no. What the hell? So that changes. It really does change. And as pregnancy goes down, there are many other changes. The uterus becomes a more abdominal organ. So the uterus is in the pelvis, the womb. And in the second trimester, it starts to come higher than that, and the belly starts to get more noticeable. So that's when people start to notice. Women start to retain more fluid. About 80% of women will retain fluid and have what is called edema, which is swelling of the feet. So the feet may get bigger. The hands can swell as well. So sometimes they may be unable to wear, like if they have rings, they may have to wear them on different fingers or stop wearing the rings. That's very, very common. Sometimes they can get skin changes, for example, in the abdomen or other parts of the body. And as the pregnancy progresses, they may have more and more discomfort because what happens is that in preparation for labor and delivery, some of the ligaments and the joints become more lax. She's carrying this weight, they're becoming more lax, there's more pressure on the spine and the pelvis. So those discomforts become more pronounced. There's a hormone called progesterone that is elevated in pregnancy. Progesterone tends to slow down the gastrointestinal system. So some women become constipated, or they may have indigestion, acid reflux. It's very common. That same hormone relaxes blood vessels, so some end up with varicose veins or hemorrhoids because of the pelvic pressure and the change. And they have these other changes, for example, with the circulation, because the blood pressure tends to fall a bit in the second trimester, so episodes of dizziness are not uncommon.
One question, Doc. Are there any positive changes?
Glad you all understand.
I'm going to ask the other doctor. So do you get out the way?
No, man, I won't tell you. So, like, apart from... wait, there's more.
By all means, carry on.
Wait, there's more.
So, for example, so the mood swings are real. Because you have a lot of different hormonal fluctuations in pregnancy, and they're real. So even if you have a woman who is pleasant and even-tempered, there are times the moods can fluctuate. Sometimes she'll be happy one minute, sad the next, irritable the next. Again, my wife is a very, very, very easygoing person. And I remember in her first pregnancy, I was talking to her about some benign thing, and then she just started crying, and I said, what the hell I do? You know, it just triggered something. But this can happen. It's important to understand. Women have short-term memory loss in pregnancy.
Yes.
That's very common.
Oh, pregnancy brain
It's
is
very
real,
common.
you know.
They'll forget stuff. And then they may have difficulty sleeping. Some of them may have a difficulty finding a sleeping position as comfortable because as the pregnancy goes on, they become more uncomfortable. There may be changes in sex drive as well, for different reasons. Because with the hormonal changes can cause that. The physical discomfort can also cause that. So sometimes they may not be really in the mood for it.
And sometimes
And it's
they may be.
important. And sometimes sometimes other way around. Sometimes they want and the men are the ones. Sometimes the men. You look like you read a lot. You read about that. I read a lot. Sometimes they want to, and the men, they come to me and say, listen, like, you know, boy, I don't want to do it. And the man is like, boy, I'm afraid my damage.
Yeah. I'll talk about that because
some men have
it's
this
a
fear.
legitimate fear that you're going to mash up something.
If it's a normal pregnancy, you know, if a woman has a problem, for example, such as a weak cervix, that's a rational fear. But for most women, no.
So you can have sex
No.
straight through.
Definitely.
I hear it's good for the birthing canal.
Not I don't think there's any study that shows that there's a big difference.
Doc, work with me now, doc.
I mean, the penis is not where the baby's going to be much bigger than her man's penis. I hope that would be a tragedy for the same side.
Tragedy for who? But
So another reason why it's important for men to come, especially if there's a man who has not been a dad before, it's very important for them to understand these things. And every now and then I will walk through fathers with these things and say, listen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And it's important, very important for both persons to empathize with each other. It's very important because, like,
You
for
can
example,
tell a pregnant woman you need to empathize
Yeah,
with
but
me.
say that.
No.
No, but say that, the doc, say that.
No.
Say that.
so that's your camera.
Say that.
Everybody,
No,
everybody.
because
This camera.
sometimes
This one.
that
Say
one,
that
we
this
should
one.
talk about how difficult it is for the
let's talk
man
about
to
that.
adjust.
Yes, let's
all
talk
of
about
it.
it. Let's talk about it. Because, so I'll tell women, listen, I'll tell men, listen, please understand that there are times when she does not going to be in the mood for that. There are times when she will be physically uncomfortable. And because of the hormonal changes, the libido is not going to be there. But I also tell women as well, I say, listen, please understand that men do not have cycles. We have needs and we're always ready for that. Please understand, because there's a tendency for some women to just dismiss us. Like, yeah, try him, can't wait till afterwards. No. No.
Yeah, because sometimes
No.
after pregnancy, a man
No.
might lose his general interest
No.
too.
It's important to
That
understand
happens.
because it's important for both sexes to understand male and female sexuality and that kind of thing. And it's extremely important.
Yeah.
Because I remember I wrote a column in the Gleaner once. It was advice to women about men and sex. And there are a lot of women who are very dismissive, like, yeah, whatever, men just want this. When I wrote the advice to men about women, people love that. And there's a tendency for people to empathize more with women.
Yeah.
But sex for men is a serious thing.
It's a need.
And a joke thing, you know.
Sir.
No, I'm not joking.
No, I
so
mean-
like I will tell him, listen.
Doc, you're
So I
preaching
said
the
to
choir
him,
right now.
so I tell the women, you know, listen, he needs to understand you, but you need to understand it. You
Yeah.
need to do something and don't just run him. Because him apart from regular, if after a while certain positions become uncomfortable, backshot can always work for the most part.
Yes.
And you know,
Can we
find
say that
something
on TV?
comfortable.
Yes, okay.
Yes. and no, and there are other things you can do.
Yeah, a lot of
Other things you can
spooning.
do.
Yes.
Spooning.
Yeah.
There are
Other things you can
alternatives.
do.
Yes,
Okay.
there are alternatives.
Use a spoon? That's kinky.
Hey. Hey.
I'll try that when I get home.
Different strokes.
Like literally. Oh my goodness. All right, Doc. Now, one of the things I want for us to kind of discuss too, is like some of these myths around pregnancy,
Oh, there are a lot.
Oh, so
right? So, what are some of the more common ones that you, in particular, come across,
Yeah.
like in your practice?
Oh man, for example, people say if the belly is pointed a certain way,
Yeah,
it's a
boy,
boy.
pick
But
me,
actually,
Yeah.
Westmoreland him come
based
from.
on
You
your
know,
research.
no,
Oh, yeah, that's it. Oh,
we
it's-
are
country,
countryman. St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester. We believe
Justine
this.
and Karida and Susan Belly never pointed.
Pointed. We
course.
believe this. We believe this. You're not. You're
Talk a real thing.
That's the guy dispel a bit there. Next.
Boy,
Try again now. Try again. Give me a different one.
So there's another one that if you check the heart rate, it can tell you whether it's a boy or a girl. That's not true. There's another one that if you drink too much water, the baby will drown. Or the baby's head will swell up with water. No, when my wife was pregnant, with my first son, again, one day she was at work and she asked this lady, that ancillary staff member, to just get her a glass of water. And they said, no, you drink too much water, the baby got drowned. And yeah, it's not going to happen.
Never heard that.
Drown, baby's already in water, or the head will fill up with water.
Right.
If you have mango and them things, the baby will end up with jaundice. That's not true.
or
whatever you crave
true.
during
But if
pregnancy,
you-
the baby
if
got
you-
mark.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's not true. There's no evidence. of that.
And also
Anyway,
how
we have to be
Sorry.
careful and
No.
talk about something. Country
No.
people
And
don't say true.
I've heard, and also
Another
I've
myth.
heard.
So hold on,
hold
hold on. So baby no mark. Hold on, can I just finish my point?
We don't
And
know.
we talk about
You
when
know
we-
mark.
Yeah, me have a birthmark. I asked that about the birthmark.
Yeah, but-
There's another myth, you know, that the man who says the father is always the father. That's a myth.
Well, that's a myth.
Wow.
We're gonna invite him for that show. But also I hear about like how you know, quote unquote Dundos picnic come out is because of him. Well, not him. Sorry, I shouldn't say the not the really.
You want to be PC about it, but go ahead.
Albinos, quote unquote, right? Because remember, I know, with country people, you know, Dundus and albino are two different things.
something.
Albino might be a reaction to like vitiligo or so. When them said Dundus, they mean the reddish type, which we know is the same thing. But I said that is because like the woman actually had a period when she pregnant. That's why
Oh,
they
that's
come out
total
red.
rubbish.
That's another. I know that's another myth that I've heard. I've heard that different countries. No, you come from Spanish town. I know really country.
I want to hear, Doc, about common mistakes that men make.
Yeah.
Right? Common mistakes that men make
During pregnancy.
God, that's another.
And which
time
time
we have?
we can
Some of
cite,
your
yeah,
own,
cite
yeah.
one of yours. Like,
Tash,
Yeah.
how much
a
time
key
we have?
one. So,
We have 3 minutes. So.
Mistakes. Not listening to women and trying to understand that. Not listening. Women talk, and many times men just log off. They need to listen. Men need to be involved in the process. For example,
when if you listen and remember.
yes.
I know you have the pregnancy brain,
Yes.
you
Let
know.
me
Write
tell
it
you,
down.
the reason why a lot of women get bun is because they don't listen, or us rather.
Why Tash? Why
No,
Tash clip?
no, seriously.
When you say
Men
us,
need
we
to
feel
listen.
better.
Us.
Would it feel like you know so?
Us, all of us. No, listen.
What I was thinking, all right.
Listen not just to the words, but the intonations and the body language, because women don't always say exactly six things straight. That's another story.
Yeah, that can be very cryptic.
Try to understand and the birthing process, what goes on in our body. Try to understand the physical changes. Just not being around, not being around, being absent, not just physically but emotionally. Those are some of the biggest mistakes.
What mistake did you make? Give up, just please, just
Yeah.
a one thing,
You have
please.
enough time for that, man.
Yeah.
No,
One,
just one.
one,
Just
so I
one.
don't feel so bad.
Just one, Doc,
Yeah.
please.
All right. So when my wife was in labor, with my first one, I thought it would be, because labor is a process, it takes a long time. I was learning music. So I thought it would be a great idea to have like this music book while I was with her, and I'd be looking and learning how to read music notes and stuff, and it wasn't really such a good idea.
Pay attention.
You're paying attention to the music.
I tried to learn about treble clef stuff, and then she was like, what the hell are you doing? And it escalated.
Were you allowed to remain in the room?
And then I told her when the pain started, I said, remember to breathe.
Yeah.
And then she said, yo. And there was another word I can't say here.
Yeah.
It was traumatic.
You did this to me!
So the next one, there was no book.
Yeah.
No, but
Not even my pamphlet.
and don't even tell her to breathe.
There's no flyers.
Right. Just turn up and,
turn
and,
up.
and stay there.
Are you okay?
Trying to learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your mistakes.
So we will do better on the second one.
I
Got you
tell you,
already.
does agree with everything, especially the last trimester. Agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agree with
Agree.
Yeah,
All
that
the things
works.
to say.
As we close out this
Yeah.
as we close out this segment, Doc, Are there any parting shots that you would want to share for first-time fathers? Because the ones who already experience, we can still learn, but the first-time ones are coming from a point of almost no reference. What would be, one of those big tips that you'd say, hey, you've shared a lot already, but
just be around for your kids, man. From the barn, make sure you learn how to change a diaper, feed them, bathe them, clothe, put on the clothes, spend quality time with them and create memories for them. It's very important for a father to be around. That's my most important job. That's my favorite job, by far. Everything else comes after that.
Yeah.
Trust me.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dr.
Yeah, you're
Abrams.
preaching to the choir, right?
Very informative and certainly quite inspiring. Doc, you had made mention that you're focusing on child-related trauma?
One of my main areas of interest now is there's a study done years ago called the ACE study, Adverse Childhood Experience Study. I looked at how adverse childhood experiences affect us as adults. I'm very, very, very interested in that. That's my main area of interest.
All right, we're going to close this. We're going to close this segment, and we're going to talk about that. But that's strictly for YouTube. Right after this, you're listening to. You're tuned into the Jamaican Dadz podcast because we are in your ear and we're also on your screen. Keep the conversation going with the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. Send us an email, JamaicanDadzPodcast@gmail.com, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and right here on YouTube. At Jamaican Dadz. Just look for it. We're dead, right? We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's fresh to death. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Dennis Brooks along with Marlon, Floyd, and Garth. We're almost at the end. Thanks for joining us. It's now time for Fresh to Death, and you can join us in on the discussion on Twitter using the hashtag Jamaican Dadz with a Z. As Garth mentioned before, today we're looking at colognes and perfumes. Cologne, I'm a big cologne fan. I love my cologne them. I have a collection. For me, I have certain that are foundation and everything else is built around them.
A lot of people don't know the difference. A lot of people don't know the difference between cologne, perfume, and what's the other one? Them have one name.
Oh, did
No, but that's the same thing.
Right,
Colognes
they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
go ahead, guys.
All right, so really and truly, they're all perfumes.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're all perfumes, right? It's just that there's been an assignment called colognes, which is for fragrances for men. Right?
Yes.
Cool.
And then they keep the original assignment of perfumes for women. But they all come in varying types. Now, you might find sometimes that you might come across a one scent, and you're like, and then you come across another one, and it smells similar, but you're like, no, what kind of knockoff thing this, right? Let's talk about that. That's what we're here to talk about. A little bit of a guide to perfume types, right? My French isn't the best, but I will try to take us through it. Now, shopping for them can be overwhelming, of course, because you have so many different types. And there are countless scents available. There are different fragrance concentrations as well, which is really what makes the difference between something lasting an hour versus something lasting a whole day or seeming to last a whole day. Also, you have to remember, folks, that when you use a cologne or perfume on your skin, you're doing a little bit of damage to your skin, depending on the alcohol content in it. And also, don't worry about you smelling yourself, right? Think about other people. You're not wearing it for you necessarily, you're wearing it for other people. So if you spray,
I'm wearing it for me too.
that's true.
I'm wearing it for me.
That's true. But if you're going to judge what you have on based on what you can smell,
Okay.
That's a challenge.
it's a challenge. Because
Yeah.
most times what we end up doing is, especially
Don't touch.
because you want to smell it. And
Yeah.
then when you go on a road, like, it's killing people out there because there's so much going on, right? So fragrance concentration refers to the strength that a fragrance will have, and it's broken into categories, including parfum, eau de parfum, eau de toilette, eau de cologne, and eau de fraîche, right? Now, parfum, also known as Extra de Parfum, or pure perfume, right, has the highest fragrance concentration. Perfume will contain anywhere between 15 and 40%. However, concentration is generally 20 to 30% for most perfumes, and that's what you really want. All right, that's the one with the least amount of alcohol that will stay on your skin, stay in your clothes, and last for a while, because it's usually perfume oil, is what it is, right? It lasts usually 6 to 8 hours. Some can perform better, and generally commands the highest price of all the fragrance types due to the concentration of fragrance. People with sensitive skin may do better with perfumes, as they have less far alcohol than the other fragrance types, which we're about to get into. Now, the perfume. EDP has the next highest concentration of fragrance, right? EDP generally has between 15 and 20%, and those are pretty popular, and they don't necessarily force you to break the bank, right? Some do, depending on the brand, right? On average, it will last for 4 to 5 hours, obviously depending on what you do. So, for example, if you up and down and a sweat enough, right? Or you drive with your windows down, so there's always breeze coming at you, then it'll last a shorter time than, for example, you're in an office, which is why I find that corporate people, or people who work in offices with ACs at the very least, will continue to have their fragrance on them for most of the day versus somebody who is up and down moving around, right? And eau de perfume is one of the most common fragrance types and suitable for everyday wear. By the way, we don't always need to be wearing perfume or
Who said that? No,
I'll lie, yeah,
No,
tell
man.
because
No,
y'all say
man.
EDT now, I mean, I say
every
we now
day.
wear that.
What you mean?
You might want to give your skin a break sometimes.
No,
That's all I'm
man.
saying.
Because what a
No,
different smell.
Exactly. Anyway, continue.
EDT, eau de toilette, has a fragrance
AKA
concentration
high school.
5 and 15%, and is cheaper than the previous two.
So it's unfair to say that it's a knockoff.
It's not a knockoff.
Okay.
A knockoff is just a knockoff, but
Yeah.
sometimes the eau de toilette is usually comes as a spray. It don't come as something you dab on, usually, right? And then it don't last
It don't
long.
last long time.
No,
And
2
it's
and it
cheaper.
gone, and it's it's definitely more
So
affordable.
They use less
is what it
perfume
is.
oil in
So
it.
we didn't get the gift that's a toilet.
And she not rate you, brother.
Yeah.
She don't
Or
rate
maybe
you.
she just don't know.
Or maybe it's what the lady can afford.
Man, check on the gift.
Yeah, check on the gift. If it's a EDT, she not rate you.
That's what I want for the perfume.
So then imagine if it's a eau de cologne.
No, man, she... Oh, wow. I continue.
So, eau de cologne has a much lower concentration of fragrance than the above ones, inclusive of EDT. Could it get any less? 2 to 4%
Give me a body
concentration.
spray.
Whoa.
It's a body spray.
It's a body spray.
Okay.
It's cheaper, they say, than other fragrance types. You don't find a lot of those in Jamaica, though. You don't find a lot
God,
of eau de
you
colognes
can't.
in Jamaica.
Yeah.
We know better. Usually, though, eau de cologne refers to traditional recipes for fragrances, which have a lot of herbs and citrus notes in them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So those are, but it's a little more down market. It's
Okay.
definitely affordable, is what it is. And then, fraiche, I think I'm pronouncing
That
this
sounds like
correctly.
water. Hola fresh.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, bien.
1 to 3% concentration, and guess what happened? It only lasts less than 2 hours. So by the time you put it on the road, the end.
Right.
We will get into more fragrances at a different point in time.
Quick
We
question,
can't
though.
talk about some of our hot
Wait, what a quick, what's your favorite scent?
My favorite scent would probably, wow, that's difficult. That one, the
It
hard.
depends.
What's
like,
yours?
It depends because it's changed. Like what my
Yeah, it
favorite
has
scent, like
changed.
right now.
Yeah.
Right now it would be Ombre Leather by Tom Ford.
Oh, fancy. And that's a perfume.
That's a, yeah,
Okay.
that's a perfume.
You?
It's still rough for me, you know. I have too much to choose from. I'll be honest with you. Cool Water. I'll be honest with you. Davidoff.
That's a DT. You're still in high school.
I don't know.
No, by the way, I'm going to tell you what you got.
Oh, there's another
what you
perfume
got
for it, by the
No,
way.
well, let me tell you.
What you got for Father's Day
Yeah,
is going to be your new favorite.
yeah. So I like
What is
Creed.
it? What-
Creed. He got Creed,
Okay.
which is my favorite scent.
I
by
like
the way.
Creed, but I would say probably my favorite of all time.
I love
Although I
Chaps
don't
too.
wear it anymore, it's kind of called Black.
Yo,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah,
listen.
always,
That-
always.
I-
It's one of my
that-
foundation
Yeah,
colognes.
man.
It has to be
But
in.
Dior has one called Savage.
Dior
Yes,
Savage.
yes.
Yeah.
Savage.
It's
Savage is
Divine is what it is.
Savage is a perfume, so you know.
It's really good. It's really good. But chemical.
By the way, these all come in different forms. You know?
Yeah,
you know, they come
do.
as perfumes,
Some,
or the
and
perfume, and or the toilet. They
some,
do.
Some.
Okay.
Not
for-
everyone.
No, not
some.
every. But generally,
Creed no
Yeah.
hot.
Brother,
Nice.
you're going to love it.
Nice.
You're going to love it. You're going to.
So what
love
is
it.
you? What do you? What,
That
what's
was it.
working for you right now? Creed?
That's it. The Aventus. But I mean, for every day, for every because I have a
Yeah, every day
Paco.
cologne.
I have there's a Paco Rabanne Invictus where I love.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah,
you have
but
to have
my
that.
everyday right now is. I'm not gonna buy
say
it. To
it.
tell you, no?
Say it.
Do I have to?
Yeah, man.
It
Go
comes
on.
in a
that's
red
it
box.
for
We're not going to buy it because you tell us.
right. That's
We
just
don't
it.
want nobody saying,
You smell
like
like
Not having it. That's it for.
Eros.
okay.
Okay,
Eros
okay,
flame.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
Good choice. Very good choice. Clearly not poverty stricken. All right. That's it for Fresh to Death. We've got Dad Try This coming up like right now.
All right, today's Dad Try This tip is about rolling up your sleeves. I have none, but Garth, you can be
Yeah,
our
and
model.
I showed Marlon how to do his.
Okay,
So
good.
it's pretty simple. Floyd could try it too, but he'd have to remove his blazer. Let's not get into all of that right now. So usually you try a roll a sleeve like this. And you
Yeah, I
take it and
learned
go
that,
up.
yeah,
no. And you end up having to adjust it.
Remember, there are people listening.
That's right. So rather than cuff your sleeve slowly, what you do
And-
is, and rolling many layers to get up to your elbow, what you're going to do is you're going to grab the top of your sleeve and take it all the way up to just above your elbow, right? One time.
Yeah.
And just bring it all the way up. Then you have the inside out section of your sleeve. You're going to bring the edge of that inside out section all the way to the top of where you previously folded, right? And once you get up there, you just tuck it right in.
Okay.
And you
Definitely
just-
need to go on YouTube and
Yes,
watch this.
you have
right
to
here.
watch this on YouTube. You've got to come
Yeah.
watch this one on YouTube. And you just tuck it in. And once you've tucked it in, it will remain in place. It will go nowhere. You lift any amount of weights,
Yeah.
do any amount of shuffling, punch people if you need to, and you've got it. It's
Yeah.
simple, easy. You don't have to worry about doing it.
Trust me.
Now,
Yeah.
you
I
can
was
also
2
do
years
this.
old when I learned this.
And you can also do this before you put on your shirt. So just do the fold from before. Zane, just bring up the sleeve, the top of the sleeve to the middle point of the sleeve, the entire thing, the edge of the sleeve to the midpoint, and then the inside out section, you just tuck that over what you've brought up. The end, punto final, you can thank me later. All right, that's it for Dad Try This. So Dennis,
Thank you very much for joining us for the podcast for today. Remember, if you want to join in on the conversation in any way, any of the segments, send us an email at Jamaican Dadz Podcast
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com. You can also hit us up on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram using
Yeah, go ahead.
Go continue.
using Jamaican Dadz, at Jamaican Dadz with a Z. So keep the discussion going, of course, as you want. Also, hit us up in the comment section. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a few shares
And
as
subscribe.
well. And subscribe.
Good stuff.
So, till next time, I'm Dennis.
I'm Marlon.
Always Floyd.
I'm Garth, and we are
Jamaican Dadz.
Stay safe until next time.